Well, I'd like to welcome one of the pioneers, one of the true pioneers of the women and girls game. Mandy Green is how everyone will know her, but she is now Downey, married in Downey. She long industrial, a long amazing history, right from playing for under nines in the 1980s. One of the true pioneers as well, who was on the first tour in 1989. Played in the league formation when there was only 3 teams, amazingly, in the mid-1980s for Dudley Hill. Also played county rugby when it was at Old Trafford and a few others. So has got some great experience in the women and girls game. And then in 1996, the historic tour that was the last team to ever beat the Australians in a 3-test series and bring back the Ashes. And 1998. So I'd like to welcome you, Mandy.
Thank you. I've never been introduced like that before, but
well, you are a true pioneer.
What you've done, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely amazing, just awe-inspiring. So thank you ever so much. So tell us about those early days when you got started as that young girl and started playing. How did you get involved and all those sort of things?
Well, I used to go watch my brother. We're all my siblings were sporty. My sister were gymnastics. My brother were football, cricket, rugby, everything. I used to get dragged along all the time. And I did try my hand, like I said, ballet and gymnastics just weren't my thing. A little bit heavy footed. So I sort of got challenged. My brother's team were losing a bit, and my dad and my elder brother were sort of niggling, saying, "Oh, Amanda could do better than you," when my brother were getting a bit wound up. And I sort of got challenged, really. So I went along to training and went from there. That was it. Fell in love with the game.
So you were 9 then?
I was 9. I think it was just before my 10th birthday, yeah.
And so there was that in the boys' team then at Dudley Hill?
That were in the boys' team at Dudley Hill, yeah. I played under 11s and under 13s. And I did play a few games in under 15s as well.
Wow, that is amazing, isn't it? And how was it playing with the boys?
It was fine, there were certain teams, generally West Bowling, which were like our rivals. I used to get a bit of stick there. Yeah, she's a girl, smack her, she won't want to play, sort of thing. But I just got up and give them it back, sort of thing. And I got representative honours with boys at under 13. I played for West Riding, which I had a little spell on. Look north, quite embarrassing, but
oh yeah, you were the first girl, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a TV star as well.
Hardly. It was a car crash, to be honest. But
anyway, So you played for West Riding, and again, it was a boys' team, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Were you the only girl on there then?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty amazing. So how did you get into women's rugby league then?
Well, I were at Dudley Hill. The boys' team were at Dudley Hill. Dudley Hill had the Thunderbirds team that had started up there. And I think it was Ruth Jowett who were like speaking to my mum and dad. Were like, "Oh, Mandy fancy playing, coming up to playing open age." And my mum said, "Oh, I'm sure she'd love to." So we had a chat, and went along training there. So used to spend all my youth training and playing, basically.
So how old were you when you started open age then?
I think I was 12 when I started in Thunderbirds. So
yeah. So really young, really. So what was it like in those early doors then, playing for the Thunderbirds?
Well, it were 9-a-side for a start. Like you said, there were only like literally 3 teams, like Guiseley and Crossfields, and we used to sort of all just take it in turns to play each other. So you'd have a week on, a week off, and then it started building a bit, and other teams got involved. I don't know who came in next, but then you had your teams like Halifax and Keighley had a team. Widnes had a team. Widnes, they had a team, didn't they, Warren? So then it started building a bit, got a bit more exciting. Then you had your Wakefields coming in and things. Yeah, then it got hard then because we had to play Wakefields. So
well, no, but I mean, Dudley Hill stood their own, didn't they, for a lot of years? They were one of the teams to be built.
We did beat them occasionally, not very often, but occasionally we did. But they were always a good game. You always looked forward to it and felt like you'd had a game afterwards, sort of thing.
Yeah. I always remember you when I was refereeing you, that scrum half that you had to watch because you were always everywhere.
I know. They used to call me all sorts of choice names, usually Lisa Mack. just to get called several choice names from her. And I remember playing in a sevens tournament at Guys Lane. I'd made this break. I loved sevens because there were a lot of space. It was quite easy to get through. Running down field and Halifax lost that side and Lisa Mack shouting, "Break her legs!" I reminded of it years later when we became friends. But yeah, like okay. But that just made me at that age. I just got, and she used to say, "You cocky little," sort of thing.
Well, you were really young coming into it, weren't you?
Yeah, really, yeah.
Yeah, and so were you still playing open age and boys rugby at the same time?
Yeah,
then?
yeah. I used to train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I used to play usually on a Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon.
Wow,
So,
that is pretty
I used to get
phenomenal,
out
isn't it?
lunking over, so I used to go on at field mother. So, because when I was playing with boys, there was never a changing room for me because I was only a girl. The one Rachel played a while, a friend of mine, and she played at Thunderbirds for a bit. But yeah, there were never any change. I used to get changed at the back of a van or a toilet somewhere, and then I used to get dashed off to come and play for Thunderbirds. So yeah, kept my mum and dad on the toes when they were young. So.
So tell us a bit about this 1998 tour. So for those that don't know, it's not a full international because unfortunately you didn't actually get to play a French team at tackle, but actually you were involved, and it was one of the first tours that actually set out international opportunities for women. Tell us a bit about how you got selected for the 89 tour and what it was like.
I don't know if I can remember. We must have gone for some sort of trials or something like that. But yeah, it to be honest, yeah, it was a bit of a shambles. We got there and we travelled all the way down to Perpignan, and there were no one to play. We played touch, I think, and we ended up playing a boys' team just to play tackle. But I remember Nikki Hardcastle. Yeah, it must have been, yeah, blonde hair. Getting into a bit of a fight with Head Hooker. The lads team.
Yeah.
But yeah, food and everything. Yeah, it was just not very. But we did it, and yeah, I'll have to send you a picture through of.
That'd be brilliant because you played 2 games of touch, didn't you? And then you played against a game of tackle against the boys.
Well, we're only 13, so I can't remember it a long time ago. But
wow, and you played in under 17 boys.
Yeah.
So that was a starting piece for it because you also played a bit of county, didn't you? How did you get involved in county rugby then?
Not sure. I think
county women's rugby.
Do you know the selection processes and things? I don't really remember, to be honest. I don't know whether we just got sort of called up or whether we actually trialled. I think we trialled, didn't we?
You did for Great Britain, I know that, but I don't know about the county.
Definitely. I remember trials for Great Britain, but yeah. I don't remember Yorkshire-wise. But I mean, it's just an honour in itself, isn't it? Playing for your county and remember that thick white jersey. It wasn't like they are nowadays. It were proper thick rugby shirt with blue lines. And walking out on Old Trafford. That's something you don't forget, sort of thing.
No, and a Yorkshire win twice, I think, at Old Trafford.
But yeah, if I can recall, yeah.
Yeah. No, they beat the Lancastrians twice, and there was quite a few county games played around, weren't there, at that time? I mean, they don't play them now, but there was quite.
Yeah, because we had girls ones before I went into open age. There were girls ones that we had as well. I think they had a Bradford. I'm not sure now. I remember playing. Oh, that might have been trials. That was at Stanley, because that's, like I say, that's where I met Shanna initially. And I think we were. I don't remember we were training or trialing. But yeah, she were quite nippy, and I kept feeding her. It's just we sort of gelled from there. Being best of mates. She's godmother to my children.
Oh, how lovely!
Yeah,
and actually, you were formidable, the pair of you, weren't you, when you played?
It was sometimes, yeah.
Absolutely.
Got each other's backs.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a bit about the trials and preparing to go to Australia at that 1996 tour.
Trials. So, I mean, trials, it was what we did, what we loved. I loved playing rugby. I just went out and did my thing. That's what I like to do. So you know, I didn't feel phased waiting to find out if you were in squad. That were the nervous, you know, bit. But you're thinking, I think I did all right, you know what I mean? But there's so many other good players around you. You just gotta. But like, with the training after and everything else, that was the hard work. Because there was so much, you know, like the training, and I was still training for your clubs. And then you got get all this extra training in. On top of that, we were fundraising. So we'd play a game maybe, and then we'd be all right, we need to be at Untitled this week. Oh, we need to be at Keighley this week. We need to be at Bradford Bulls this week, you know, shaking buckets around the stands. Shook so many buckets. It's untrue. Yeah, doing fundraising, raffle, all sorts, begging people work. You know, I was quite lucky. My company that I worked for sponsored me both times because you had a certain amount to raise on top, didn't you? So, but great experience. You know, I wouldn't change it. I mean, we did it the hard way. We had to beg, steal, and borrow for everything we had. But once you got stood out on that pitch and that national anthem started playing, it was just the pride that just goes through you. It's untrue. Although I think when we first started singing, we all started singing really high up. Music were really low. We all got giggles, and they had a camera going across the line, and it was like, oh, I think that was Australia. So, but,
so once you got called up, you know, and what was your family like when you started playing for your country?
Oh, proud as punch, yeah. I mean, like I said, my mum and dad trailed me all over. As soon as I was old enough to learn to drive, I'm like, you need to learn how to drive. We're sick of driving you up and down. Thankfully, we didn't have as far to come as some, you know, the girls up in Cumbria and that. But yeah, they were proud as punch, yeah. Still are, really, yeah.
So what was it like touring Australia then?
It's mind-blowing. It's a lifetime experience, you know, once in a lifetime sort of experience. There's so many memories, but it just seems so long ago. But watching football of a week, I know we're not footballers, but them Lionesses, when they won, I felt every emotion with them. Because after that whistle on that final test, and they were all crying. We were like crying and happy and laughing, and you don't want to leave the field. It's bizarre. And I felt it all with them, but I also felt it for other team because when we were in New Zealand, we were other side, weren't we? So it was, yeah, but yeah, full of pride, and it's sort of nice to talk about, really, because there's a lot of things you do forget about. You forget what you have achieved, really, because you just get on with day-to-day life. You grow up, you have family and all that business, go to work, earn a living. And you do forget what you've done sometimes.
Yeah, so. And actually, I mean, that 96 tour was the last team to actually beat the Australians in a three test match, either, you know, England, Great Britain, men's, women. So it's a pretty awesome achievement.
Yeah, and we did that through blood, sweat and tears, let me tell you. Yeah.
So it was a phenomenal tour, and everyone talks about it, and that it's one of the proudest moments of their lives, like you have. So you came home. So what happened after that? You sort of came home and
went back to work. I don't think much happened, to be fair. Oh, I'll tell you a lie. We got asked to go to Wembley, you know, because they wanted to introduce us. And what they did, well, they put us in white jogging suits, so we looked like a personal advert. And they asked us to dance to Alvin Starr or whatever it's called, singing, you know, War. Had this dance we had to do.
Right.
Yeah, and I bet they'll all remember it. I'm not singing it now, but yeah, they had us in Wembley Arena practicing it, and then out on field. So we went round. We were all sort of round edge doing this dance to War, and I thought, I couldn't imagine it. Didn't they get an open top bus with Lionesses that have just come? Yeah, no, we danced in white tracksuits. So apart from that, there weren't a lot. I mean, yeah, family and everyone else were like, you know, congratulating you and everything else, and you're on a big high. But not much. We did go down to London. Didn't we get nominated as team at year?
Yeah. I think you came second or something like that.
Yeah, I think golfers win it, but golfers who have money thrown at them, Laura Davis and all that. Yeah. We went down to that one. But apart from that, I don't recall much else happening. No,
Yeah, no, there wasn't really much acknowledgement, was there?
no, not really.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
probably why, like I say, talking to you now, you sort of don't realise what you've achieved until sort of, because there was none of that,
No, there was no one recognising it, was there?
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but
So you came back and you decided to go for a second round,
did.
preparing for Australia. So tell us a bit about that. How did that differ, the 96 to sort of 98 preparation to New
Preparation.
Zealand?
Well, the coaching staff that come in, they were a little bit strict. We had sort of I mean, Ian Harris, he was strict enough. Don't get me wrong. I thought he was great, to be honest. But then, then next time we had all sorts, and it was just a lot stricter, I think, in that respect, training wise. You used to had to get that many training sessions in. You so many runs to do, so many gym sessions to do, plyometrics to do in a session, and used to find myself running to training or having a run before. I would run to match, and then people are like, "What are you doing? Why are you running?" We're like, "We need to do it. We need to get it in," and so I don't think the fundraising were quite as. I don't think we have to do quite as much. I think we still have to do quite a lot, but not quite as much for the New Zealand tour. But I mean, for me, the New Zealand tour I got injured first warm-up match against Maoris. That big Maori have kindly kicked me straight in shoulder blade and knocked it all out of line, and I couldn't hardly breathe. But after some kitchen acupuncture and things like that,
my kitchen,
my kitchen, acupuncture and all sorts. I missed the first test. I started the second test, but after a knock, I managed to play in the final test. So it were a bit. Still good, still an experience. Because just being with the team and the squad, and everyone's looks out for each other. Got each other's backs. But it was.
So what was it like? The difference between playing against the Aussies and the Kiwis
my
at
word.
that time?
Well, we thought when we first went out to Australia and played there, we thought they were tough. Then with this team rocked up. Well, when Maoris rocked up for that first warm-up game, we were like, jeez, size of them. You know what I mean? And I mean, at that age, I wasn't that big. I mean,
You're not big now.
I'm going to say I'm 5'2", I'll say. Maybe just under. But yeah, these were huge, and we were all like, God, they're like men. And when you hit them, it was like hitting a brick wall. Let me tell you, they were a lot physically strong, bigger and stronger than Australians.
Yeah. So you came back, and then what happened with your rugby league then after that?
I still played. I played up. What age did I play? What time? 98. How old? I can't work out. I played for a while. I probably played up till about 2006.
Yeah,
2005,
it's a long
2006,
career.
When I had my first daughter. So
pretty amazing. So when you look back then, so when you look back, what do you think the toughest time was?
Playing wise. So looking back, when I was young, being accepted in boys' team, that took a while, but it did. And like I say, when I played in West Riding, they totally embraced the fact that they had a girl playing, and I played alongside Simon Orton and Graham Allroyd. I mean, I don't know if people remember them, but they were my teammates then. And that were a bit, but like I say, when I got to that sort of level, they fully embraced it. So, and then I didn't find the transition into the open age tough, really. And I even did a bit of coaching at one point, under 11s at Dudley Hill. So what toughest bit? Probably just the training, just training for the squads, But I loved it then, do you know what I mean? Wish I were that fit now. I still go to gym, I still go for a run, but I'm just to be that fit again, it'd be awesome. But
Oh dear. So when you reflect on what you've achieved, what do you think?
wow, basically,
Yeah.
I just did it though. It was, I don't know. I think I enjoyed it. It came quite naturally. I just loved playing, I'd loved playing. Like I say, they were the best years of my lives. I made some lifelong friends through it, and I wouldn't change a thing. It was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're now sort of thinking about what's happening now in sport, obviously, women's sport is just on an absolute up, isn't it? And
Oh
when you
yeah,
look at
massively. And you think, oh, if only I were 20 years younger. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe a bit more, maybe 30 years.
yeah,
But yeah, if only a bit younger, could do what I did now. It's like, oh God, I'd love to play. I'm like, I don't know if I could now. My back's knackered. And
so what would you say to those young girls, young women coming through now, and the future generation about
work hard and keep going, because it's out there, and do you know what? It's the most amazing time in your life. If they experience anything what we've experienced, then they'd be daft not to just go for it.
Yeah.
Work hard, train hard.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah. Oh, Mandy, it's been an absolute pleasure. Your career has been phenomenal in rugby league. You are honestly, and I don't say it lightly, but an absolute icon and a role model for those young people coming through. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Nice talking. It was nice to catch up with everyone. Hopefully at some point, as long as we don't have to wear a suit, because I don't know if I'd fit in anymore.